All right, let's talk about one of the most basic, but also one of the most critical parts of engineering, just sticking stuff together. I mean, think about it. From the screws holding your desk together to the welds on a massive ship, it's all about joining and assembly. But how in the world do you pick the right way to do it? Well, that's what we're going to dive into. So you've got two parts, right? And you need to join them. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But, in engineering, it's those simple sounding problems that, well, they have the most interesting answers. And getting it wrong can be a really big deal. And here's the kicker. This is the question. Do you ever want to take them apart again? Seriously, this one little question, it changes everything. It's the first big choice you have to make, and it sends you down a completely different path. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to tackle that fundamental choice first, then look at mechanical fasteners. After that, we'll start climbing what I like to call the temperature ladder, starting with low-temp soldering, moving up to high-temp brazing, and finishing at the very top with welding. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by figuring out how to choose the right joint for the job. Okay, so this is it. That first big decision we just talked about. Permanent or temporary? Before you even think about grabbing a tool, you have to answer this. Is this thing going to be put together forever, or do you need to be able to disassemble it down the line? The difference is pretty straightforward, right? Think about the battery cover on your TV remote. That's a temporary joint. It's designed to come apart easily so you can do maintenance, change the batteries. But a permanent joint, that's more like the frame of a skyscraper. It's built for maximum strength, and it's not meant to be taken apart. Ever. All right, first up, mechanical fasteners. We're on the ground floor of that temperature ladder here. We're talking about nuts, bolts, and rivets. Methods that just use good old-fashioned mechanical force to get the job done. No heat needed for these. So let's talk threaded fastenings. You're looking at probably the most common type of joint on the planet. I mean, screws, nuts, bolts, they are everywhere. And for good reason. They are the definition of a temporary joint. If you need to fix your bike or work on your car, you're going to be really thankful it's held together with bolts. But they do have a weakness. The big one? Vibration. Over time, things can shake loose, which is definitely something engineers have to plan for. Okay, now let's switch gears to a permanent mechanical fastener, the rivet. You see these all over airplanes and old bridges. Basically, you stick a metal pin through two pieces of metal, and then you hammer or press both ends to form heads. The result is a super strong joint. But there's a catch, a pretty big one actually. You have to be able to get to both sides of the material to install it, and that's not always possible. So what do you do when you can only get to one side? Well, that's where the pop rivet comes in. It is such a clever invention. You just stick it in the hole, and a special tool pulls on a pin that runs through the middle. This pull causes the back end to mushroom out and clamp down on the material. And then, pop, the pin breaks off and you're done. All from one side. It's a total game changer. Now, the trade-off is strength. Because it's hollow, it's just not going to be as tough as a solid rivet. Okay, time to start climbing that temperature ladder. We're moving into the world of heat. And our first stop is a pretty common one, soldering. Remember this number, 450 degrees Celsius. It's kind of the magic number in all of this. Why? Because soldering is defined as any process that happens below that temperature. You're melting a filler metal, sure, but, and this is the important part, you're not melting the actual pieces you're trying to join. The best way to think about soldering is like you're using a super strong metallic hot glue. The solder itself melts, flows into the joint, and then cools to create the bond. The key thing to remember, though, is that the parts you're joining, what we call the parent metals, they never actually melt. They stay totally solid the whole time. And you've really got two main flavors of soldering. There's soft soldering, which is what you see in electronics, think circuit boards. It's a very low temp process, perfect for delicate little components. Then you have hard soldering, which is often used for making jewelry out of silver or gold. It's much hotter. In fact, it's so much hotter that it actually crosses that 450-degree line. So a lot of engineers would technically call it a type of brazing, which conveniently is what we're talking about next. All right, let's keep going up that ladder. We're getting into some serious heat now. Welcome to high-temp bonding, or brazing. So check out this temperature range. We're now officially above 450 degrees Celsius, and we can go all the way up to 1200 Celsius. That's a huge jump. And all that extra heat lets us use much stronger filler materials, creating joints that are way, way tougher than anything you could get with solder. But here's the thing, and it's so important. Even at these crazy high temperatures where the metal is glowing red hot, we are still just using a metallic glue. The parent metals do not melt. The filler metal gets sucked into the tiny gap between the parts through something called capillary action. It's the same cool physics that lets a paper towel soak up a spill. It creates an incredibly strong bond, but the original parts are still unchanged. And now, we've reached the top of the ladder. We're at the very peak of heat and strength. We're talking about welding. And up here, the rules of the game change completely. Just look at that number. Over 3,000 degrees Celsius. We're not talking hundreds of degrees anymore. We're talking thousands. That is ridiculously hot. Hot enough to melt steel like it's butter. This isn't about melting a filler metal anymore. This is about melting the actual material itself.
And that is it. That's the one thing you have to remember about welding. We're done with metallic glue. In welding, you melt the edges of the parts you are joining. You literally turn them into liquid metal so they can flow together and become one single solid piece when they cool down.
So let's just make this crystal clear. Brazing, the main parts do not melt. A filler metal does the work. Welding, the main parts do melt. They fuse together directly. This fundamental difference is why a welded joint isn't just a joint anymore. It's basically part of the original material. That's where you get that incredible strength.
And how do you get something that hot? Well, there are a bunch of ways. You can use a super hot flame, like with oxyacetylene, or you can create a massive electrical arc. That's the idea behind TIG and MIG welding. You can even use the resistance of the metal itself to generate heat, like in spot welding, or just blast it with a high-powered laser. Lots of options.
Okay, so we've gone all the way from the humble screw-up to a 3,000-degree weld. Let's bring it all back together and figure out how you actually choose the right joint.
This chart really sums it all up nicely, doesn't it? If you need to take it apart, threaded fasteners are your go-to. Need to join some sheets of metal permanently? Rivets are a great choice. For a low-heat permanent joint, especially in electronics, you're going to solder. When you need more strength but still can't risk melting the original parts, you braze. And when you need the absolute strongest joint possible by fusing the metals themselves, you weld. It all comes down to what you need the joint to do.
So I want to leave you with a little challenge. Now that you know all this, just look around you, right now. Look at your chair, your lamp, your phone. How is it all put together? Can you spot the different joining methods we talked about? I bet you'll start seeing screws, welds, and maybe even some soldering in places you never noticed before.